So hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Catherine Winters. I'm the lab supervisor at University of British Columbia's Emerging Media Lab. And before I turn things over to your host today, I'd first like to acknowledge that VCC, VFS, and UBC Vancouver are located on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh people. I'd also like to acknowledge that many of us are joining us today from many places, near and far, and take a sec to acknowledge the traditional owners and caretakers of those lands. First, if you haven't been to an EMBC CoP before, quick introduction. The Emerging Media BC Community of Practice, EMBC CoP, is made up of researchers, educationers, and practitioners who all share an interest in emerging media and immersive technologies like VR. Since we started EMBC CoP in 2018, the meetings have allowed the community to kind of get together and share and discuss their work, as well as learn about innovations in immersive media and emerging technologies. Those are always really fun. So EMBC CoP meetings are collaborative. They've been hosted by various companies and institutions, pretty broad range. The meetings are usually once per month and usually on the last or second last Friday. So if your organization is interested in hosting, let us know and we can talk. EMBC CoP, there's three main purposes that underlie it. One, to provide a forward-looking forum in which we can share our current projects and bring our expertise to like forecasting, shaping the future of this area. Two, to provide a stimulating environment in which we solve challenges in and around immersive technology in relation to education and research, such as streaming. And lastly, to provide a strong network that brings us all opportunities to collaborate among our communities in emerging media, such as VR, augmented reality, and especially when those are applied to education and research. On that note, I'd like to pass the microphone over to Mary Lim.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mary. I'm the head of the VR AR Design and Development Program at VFS, as well as the manager of instructor training and program development. I am happy to be here, happy to be sharing, and happy to be learning with all of you. I love doing this because there's no end in learning at all, because this is so new. And yeah, we have some of our students joining as well, and I see a lot of people from other institutions as well. Thanks, Daniel. It's nice to see you. Yeah, so I'm going to share my screen. I just have a few things that I wanted to announce before we start with the speakers. So this is co-hosted by VCC and VFS, although Brett is going to be presenting. The reason for that is because we have a brand new joint program that involves both schools. So originally we started off our program with just an 8-month program at Vancouver Film School. And for the program, we wanted students to have a lot of prerequisites with programming as well as art in order to join. So we did have to turn some students away in the first intake, which I did not like doing. So I was trying to figure out how to not do that. And I looked across the street and VCC was right there and have intro to programming courses. And I've taken a lot of like educational programming there as well. And I really am a big fan of that school. So I got together with a department head there, and within a year, we actually built this joint program and passed it through all the levels of governance, which I think was pretty awesome. And so it launched in September last year. So there's 4 months that start at VCC. They get intro to game engine, intro to asset creation, intro to programming, and then some other VCC courses. Then they come to us for 8 months, so this is with the students, and then they finish with a 4-month practicum at VCC, and then they end with a 2-year diploma from VCC, as well as an 8-month diploma from VFS. So it's pretty exciting. We have 3 students so far. It just started. I think the 3 are here as well. And some of the instructors actually teach in both portions, which is really good for the students. So there's that continuity. So yeah, that's super exciting. It's been really awesome working with VCC on that so far. And, you know, the learning outcomes for our program is just to create immersive experiences for whatever application, whatever industry. So we try to support our students in whatever kinds of projects they want to work on. And I'll share in the chat shortly our project's website in case anyone wants to check out some of our student work. We're on our 3rd intake right now, so we have a few projects to show off. This is what the program looks like. I won't go into it too much. It's on the website. But I did want to highlight one other thing, which is our client project, because I just heard from one of the clients from our first intake, which was UBC, actually. So the med school there. I think actually one of the students who worked on this project is here. And I just wanted to, highlight this because I think it's really exciting. Collaboration seems to be a really big thing in VR and AR. Everybody I've reached out to have been so happy and open to come and talk to the students and share the knowledge they have. I'm the same. And I really appreciate that. And we have Vivian and Julie. Julie's in Toronto. It's, Friday night after dinner, and she's doing this for us, which is awesome. And there's just such a good community. And so I'm really happy to be here with everybody. But yeah, this was our first client project in the program. The client was the Faculty of Medicine at UBC. The project the students worked on is actually live now. The students in the Faculty of Medicine are really enjoying going through it. Only 5% have tried VR before, which is really cool that they're enjoying this experience that our students made. And by the end of March, 180 students will have gone through it. So I'm pretty proud of that. Pretty proud of our students for the work that they've done. And of course, there's a lot of cleaning protocols because it is happening right now. And they're planning on expanding it more. So yeah, that was the one project that I wanted to highlight, which is like a different collaboration with a different school. But yeah, that's it for me. I do want to just get right into it because I'm really excited to try some of the things that our other panelists are going to be sharing with us. So I believe Vivian has shared some links in the chat. So please go and download those apps so that you can try out the AR experiences that she'll be talking about. And then also we're going to just save all of the Q&A to the end, if possible, because we want to get through all of our speakers. And then we'll hopefully be able to have a nice chat at the end of all of this. So I'll hand it off to Vivian and Mirjana. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves as well.
Sounds great. Hi, everyone. I'm Vivian Chen, and I'm an old friend of Emerging Media Lab. I've been part of the first group since 2018 with Yvonne, Larry, Saeed. When we kind of got together and said, wow, there are so many cool and interesting things that are happening both at the industry, academic level. How do we share this knowledge and how do we grow that knowledge? And so it's so exciting to see this community thrive and grow and expand and new ideas come in and out, and just so happy to come back and visit from time to time. I'd love to be able to spend more time with you guys, but so thank you for having me. I am the Chief Channel Officer of NexTech AR. I'll talk a little bit more about what our company does, our origins around augmented reality and virtual experience, but tell you a little bit about our innovation story, some of the use cases of how we're using augmented reality successfully with paid clients. So these are not, these are real world, use cases and applications of augmented reality that are taking place and that are hopefully going to be game changers. We see them as game changers as is now, but we're going to see them proliferate more. And more importantly, we want to give you a time to play. It's Friday. So we want to make sure that you guys get some chance to test out some augmented reality activations. So this is going to be at the tail end of the presentation, a very interactive session. So get your phones ready. If you have a BlackBerry or an Apple SE, it's not going to work. But I don't think this group is in that situation. So with that, I'll also have Mirjana introduce herself quickly.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you, Vivian. So nice to see all of you today with us in this session. And some of you I've met before, and some of you I know through Vivian and all these great stories that Vivian was able to pass about the community. And yes, so I am in the VR AR community for quite a few years now. I graduated from Simon Fraser University, got my PhD in virtual reality. So I was more involved with that community for the past quite a few years while doing my PhD. And now I'm working at NexTech, joined NexTech as a product manager for augmented reality product line. And also I'm a head of AI division. So I'm in that intersection between augmented reality and AI. And I'm really, really excited about today's meeting and learning all these cool, exciting stuff that you are bringing today to the table. So Yes, looking forward to continuing this chat, and actually I'm here for any technical questions that you might have. So I'm going to let Vivian present. I'm going to be that technical person running the slides, and then I'm happy to also engage later in the discussion. So Vivian, would you like me to share?
Yeah, let's take it away. So first of all, let me tell you a little bit more about the origin story of NexTech AR. It's kind of an innovation story because we came at building technology from two different lenses. The first lens, and Mirjana, the screen's not sharing yet, but just making sure. The first lens is in this union of what I call augmented reality. Our founders had a hypothesis. They believed that with 3D interactive, that was the future of shopping. That was the future of immersive experience in the digital landscape. And a funny story, we became a Miele dealership in Gilroy, California, to be able to literally pilot our web AR technologies to be able to see, does 3D augmented reality, does 3D, models help drive stronger conversions? We're happy to report after 3 years later, we're the largest Miele vacuum cleaner dealer across all of North America. So we know that 3D interactive helps people visualize, experience, and ultimately convert to purchase with augmented reality. And we've done many other areas of AR that we're going to highlight today as well. On the other side of our spectrum is this notion around virtual events. We're very fortunate to have one of the very mature streaming and broadcast engines from an acquisition we acquired in February of 2020 called Joloquia. Joloquia essentially was a virtual events platform. They were streaming to 650,000 people back in 2016 with the Toyota Nexus launch. They're also a learning experience platform. And so what we've done essentially is taken this incredible world-class streaming engine and learning experience platform, fused it with our augmented reality. And when you bring it together, that is the nexus of where innovation starts. We have a digital experience platform, and we're super fortunate and excited to be able to bring these technologies together to kind of create the next generation of experiences. When you use our stuff, it's not like your typical Zoom, and we'll show you a little bit more about what that looks like in a little bit. So a little bit more about us. We are a global company, Canadian company, 233 people strong. We've got offices in Toronto, Vancouver. We've got folks in California, as well as in Georgia. We've got a large group in Georgia as well. And we're based in Europe as well as Asia Pacific as well in Singapore. So we've got global reach, and yeah, we're starting to really see where all the regional needs are and whatnot. It's a very exciting time in the evolution of our company. So some of the stuff that we've worked on, if you look at the brands that we've worked with, over the last 10 years of working with brands, and a very accelerated year last year, we've worked with everyone from UNESCO on their World Literacy Day. We hosted a 3-day event with close to 40,000 people from multiple nations, closed captioned in 64 languages. We've also worked with organizations like Dell. We helped launch one of their laptops in 3D, augmented reality. One of our clients is Ryerson University. We'll talk a little bit more about the virtual science labs that we built with them. And now we're moving beyond science and working with the School of Interactive Arts and Design. And we worked with other educational institutions like Carnegie Mellon, University of South Florida, the Black Student Fund on convocation, on virtual career fairs and poster sessions and more. So a lot of different applications of going digital and going virtual that are coming together. So let's talk a little bit more about, however, our augmented reality platform and stack, because most of you guys are in the immersive space. NexTech AR essentially has a platform that does sort of 4 things. We create, we host and enable. We enable you to experience, the 3D interactive, and you're able to analyze and also advertise, use those assets to kind of proliferate in multiple channels. I'll take you like a case in point. So you're able to essentially use some of our capture tools. So you can use some of our capture tools to do 3D holograms of objects. It could be a rock, a shoe. You know, you could also do a 3D model of a human. I've got a hologram that you can try out. It was done, you know, very simply. Our philosophy is let's make creation really easy. Still needs a green screen ideally, you know, to make sure that those occlusions and the lighting work really well. But the hologram that I did was literally done in 5 minutes with a green screen. And so our philosophy is like, how do we make creation really easy? And we've got some tools to do that. However, there's a ton of other amazing creation tools out there. And so, you know, I can't say enough about the demand and the need for like thousands and millions of 3D objects. And so we're very excited and collaborate with other 3D creation platforms and vendors as well. So Mirjana, if you could go back. So we've got the hosting and digital asset management repository that's available. And then it's, you know, the ability to experience those 3D interactive assets is also very important. So we've got 2 applications, AirTize and AirShow. That enable that viewing experience. And then finally, you know, being able to kind of show those 3D assets, not just in the mobile, but on your website as a QR code in a in-store activation. This sort of multi-channel approach is really important because augmented reality, when being able to experience in multiple ways, creates value. And that value is also understanding what people are looking at. You know, if you're looking at, you know, sorry to use a shoe example, we've been all talking about shoes for a long time, but, you know, what part of the shoe are they looking at? What part of the product are they looking at? And so having that understanding of how people interact virtually with a product is very important. And that analytics only helps product designers and folks that are marketing build and create better experiences. All right, so in terms of what we do, there are, you know, back to that piece, what we've done is try to make augmented reality practical, right? At the end of the day, what stories are we trying to tell? What are we trying to communicate with augmented reality? Human holograms. We've got moving human holograms that can sing and move quite fluidly with AirShow. We've got AR portals where you literally can walk into a door and experience a 3D environment. And then we've also got 3D AR products and web AR. So web AR is for your kind of computer. 3D AR is kind of to be beamed into your room. So different ways of experiencing a product as well. And then we've also got virtual labs, which is at the intersection of virtual events and augmented reality. So you can learn virtually and digitally, and screen AR as well. So screen AR is where the augmented reality literally pops out of your screen. So this is the breadth of augmented reality options that enable you to kind of paint a story and build an experience. So let's play. So this is the first one. We're going to have to keep everyone's phones muted. This is the AirShow application. If you type in offset EXP, and we'll send this deck afterwards as well to folks, you'll be able to have a meet and greet with Offset. So Offset is from Migos, or otherwise known as Cardi B's on again, off again partner. We're doing a lot of sort of human holograms in the entertainment space. So that's an area that we've gotten some traction, spokespeople, whatnot. We even have a yoga instructor actually teach the chair, the tree pose with it. So let's try the next one. I'm going to give everyone, I'm going to pause and go a little slower for everyone. If you've got time, feel free to take your camera and take a photo of the QR code. This is our lobster fisherman example. So it was incorporated as part of the Canada Trade Mission conference. We worked with the Department of Agriculture. They went to Korea and Japan virtually to be able to promote a lot of the food products that Canada exports internationally. One of the export products that they're very proud of is lobster. And in the past, they would bring a lobster fisherman over to a trade show, and they would kind of be ambassadors for lobster in these food fairs. So because we were not able to travel, and we did an event virtually with everyone, what we did was we beamed everyone in through a 3D door portal. You walk into that door and you experience a 360 video of a day and a life of a lobster fisherman. And so it's a really cool activation. You literally walk into a door and you get to hear the lobster fisherman kind of narrate his day. And then you look back, and that's your living room or room there, and you can walk around. And so it's a very kind of immersive experience. I recommend that all of you guys give this one a try. Again, we will send this to everyone as well. But again, we're finding the portal has been a really amazing use case. Since we can't be there, we can be there virtually together. So the next use case that we have here is we worked with Highsight. They wanted to launch a premium cookware line called World's Prestige. They were based out of Latin America, and they literally did a big product launch to their supplier, their resellers, and they wanted to like highlight the blender. And this event was really cool. They had video cooking demonstrations with some famous chefs using the blender. They had breakout sessions around the blender technology and how to use it, how to service it, how to sell it. But what was really interesting is that they had web AR activated inside our virtual event portal. So literally, you could literally toggle the 3D asset in the portal, and then you could also take the QR code and put the blender in and experience it in your room. And so it was, again, this notion of experience. How do you differentiate between a Zoom webcast, beside people bombing the Zoom webcast, not very secure, and a virtual event? Well, these get out of your seat moments created by augmented reality make it quite special. And so that's where augmented reality creates a lot of magic in storytelling. So next slide. And by the way, I think we're going to offer Emerging Media Lab maybe one of our more secure portals next time for you guys to host your events, so that you don't have anyone bombing, because Zoom is not very secure. We've got more secure options for you guys. So follow up with me on that. All right. So with that said, the next example here is the Ryerson Virtual Labs. They call it RAIL. This has been quite, to me, this has been evolutionary. We worked with Dave Cram, the Dean of Science at Ryerson, well before COVID. David believed that the future of sort of learning is immersive. And he came to us and said, you know, these chemistry labs that we have, they've got limited capacity. They've got also limited space. And, you know, the number of students enrolling in sciences at Ryerson is growing. They have 5,000 strong students in the sciences you know, and a lot of them are in first and second year. And so he gave us sort of a challenge that we co-created together. He said, how do we create education in chemistry with 8 modules? How do we teach folks how to learn how to use a microscope? How do we teach folks how to use you know, the test tubes and understand the chemistry mixtures if you don't have access to that equipment? And so we created, again, a multi-channel activation where it was video learning, it was pre-test, post-test quizzes, and then there was obviously an exercise that involved an augmented reality activation where you literally have to do scenarios-based learning. And we did 8 of them, and it was a great success. It was so much of a success that they've ordered, they built 40 more with us, and they now have ordered 40 more. So we're gonna have 88 virtual learning experiences with Ryerson by the end of this year. And what's even cooler than that is that we've gone into other subjects. So to kind of give you an example, we're doing virtual labs now with rat dissection. Think about that. We are PETA friendly. No RABs were injured in that. And we're doing linear and non-linear learning. So the augmented reality learning now is starting to get more sophisticated, so that when you're dissecting the rat in a 3D fashion and the incision's in the wrong place, it will actually tell you it's mistakes driven. And so you kind of go back and do it again. And so we're starting to kind of evolve the sophistication of the learning. All right, I think that's it. So what we have here is we'll send this deck out to all the folks here. We've got some more videos around our virtual experience platform, some of those activations you saw today. But again, really the key is seeing is believing. You just kind of have to play with it to kind of see how all of this works. And I always say this, that at the end of the day, what we build is paintbrushes. These are just tools in your toolkit that enable you to create as a creator. If you're a creator, how would you use broadcasting? How would you use augmented reality? How would you use all these different paintbrushes to kind of create something of substance and value for your community and for your users? And so we're excited to kind of provide those tools to the community. And if you have more questions, feel free to reach out to me. Best way to find me is on LinkedIn. I'm RedThreads8, but also I'll be around for questions after this, and just happy to provide more technical details. Mirjana can kind of drill into the technical of how we kind of build all this stack. And I'm happy to talk a little bit more about how customers and clients are using technology today. So with that, I will turn it back to Mary.
Thank you very much, Vivian. We'll save all of your questions to the end. Next up, we have Julie.
Hello, everybody. My name is Julie Smithson. I'm the Chief Learning Officer for MetaVRse. And let me just begin by starting. Thank you so much for joining us on Friday afternoon. It's a little bit later, obviously, for me than it is for you, but still all the same, it's Friday. It's a good feeling for after having such a busy week. So let me go ahead and present my screen. Okay. So yes, hi everybody. My name is Julie Smithson, and I'm the Chief Learning Officer for MetaVRse. I'm also co-founder of XR Ignite and producer of XR Collaboration. I'm also chairperson of the board for XR Women, which I'll talk about a little bit at the end, and members of Educators in VR, VRARA, and iLearn, and part of the XR Bootcamp Advisory. So a little bit about my companies. I'll get to MetaVRse in a couple of minutes, but XR Ignite was built a couple of years ago to help foster the community of XR developers and startups and matching them with enterprise clients. So really becoming a source of support in the community as we digitally transform. Last April, when we went into, or March, sorry, when we went into lockdown, XR Collaboration was built out with some amazing sponsors: Deutsche Telekom, Accenture, Qualcomm, Cleanbox Technology, and I'll talk about those resources further into my presentation as well. I'm also host of my podcast called XR for Learning, and my husband and partner, Alan Smithson, does XR for Business podcast, which is where I learned a lot of my, I guess, what I hold up here today. And this is a little bit about my history, dropping a little bit of fun for Friday afternoon. Going back into 2010, my husband and I created the emulator, the world's first touchscreen technology DJ controller for the music industry, and then went on to Beyond Dragon's Den in 2014. So way back then, we were dealing with touchscreen technology, and that kind of led into the foray of virtual and immersive technologies. So the fun fact about that is Jean-Michel Jarre actually used the emulator on the right-hand side at his New Year's Eve concert in virtual reality this past December 31st. So that was really cool, seeing something of our legacy in VR. So another tidbit, my daughter, she was 9 when she started her first company, designed the Love Sandals. It was a heart-shaped tan line sandal that, pair of sandals that left a heart-shaped tan line on the top of your foot. That's where we were inspired to understand how much education needed to be changed. So our mission became to inspire the next generation to think and act in an economically, socially, and environmentally sustainable way, leveraging the most advanced technologies and tools in the world. So our bigger mission is the Unlimited Awesome Academy, which includes all of these amazing things in our life, from perseverance, economic responsibility, social impact, and sustainability and teamwork. But bigger than, that's where we went into our journey with MetaVRse. And I'll begin by talking about our product, which is a web platform that makes it easy to create, curate, and consume interactive 3D experiences. And right now we're focused on marketing, training, and e-commerce. Our mission is to unlock the power of spatial computing for everyone. And so a few challenges facing XR. You know, you have to have specialized skills. There's a lot of upfront costs, and there's learning curves and requires code. But our MetaVRse solution allows it to be easy to create. It's cloud-based, easy to learn, and it's code optional. So we actually have worked with Oracle, and they've already started saying that our creator tool is 2 times simpler than Unity, which is a very difficult programming language to understand if you're just starting off. Our technology is universal and supports 7 programming languages, and it works across all devices and browsers and operating systems. So we focused on 3D on web. And when we started building out our product, we struggled with teaching people how to think spatially. And then that led to the education behind wanting to teach people about 3D learning. So I always talk about the fact that we have to now think on the Z-axis, or the Z-axis, if you're American, I guess, starting to think in depths and dimensions, spatial understanding, creative design, and multiple perspectives. And going back to what Vivian said, you know, it all comes back to 3D interactive experiences, because it stimulates the real thing, builds connections with the user, it invites interactivity, gamification, and rewards, and it also makes learning fun and sparks curiosity. There's over 7 billion devices that are 3D enabled, and that was kind of the target market when we're going for 3D on web. And I always talk about 3D being the gateway into XR. So talking about shoes, we all like to play with shoes, but they're fun to play with. I'll show you a few QR codes, and I dropped it in the chat as well if you wanted to click through the link. These are some of our 3D web experiences that we've created that allows you to provide a perspective of the shoe and what you would like to customize about it. So we're already starting to see that next level of e-commerce happen with our clients, and seeing these sales conversions start to convert faster with 3D web experiences. So this is a huge topic that's really starting to take over. And I did a talk a couple of days ago about retail, and it seems to be coming up more and more in conversations about basically having a virtual showroom. And virtual showrooms can provide that interactive experience beyond that one item 3D object. It can provide that replacement of that shopping mall that we desperately want to go back into. And I know I haven't been in one in well over a year now. That virtual showroom is something that we can start to build out now, where you can have those integrated payment portals inside, as people are starting to take a look at these 3D assets on a closer basis. So next week, we're actually launching our very first virtual showroom. So I hope you guys will follow us, and then you'll be able to experience this one yourself. The experience in the bottom is also a really interesting one. We did a project for Samsung just recently on training for some of their new devices, most recently the S21, the Galaxy S21. But the one you see in the bottom left is actually the Note 20. And I think I actually put that in the chat so you guys can take a look at their training experience. And this was about just over 30 interactions through the whole experience. And we ended up putting quizzes at the end to engage the employees and train them on their knowledge base. And we'll get to analytics in a couple of minutes when I get through the rest of them, but certainly interactive experiences are starting to make their way through not just showrooms, but using those configurators in both training and interactive experiences for retail. So remote training, this is an interactive experience for an ultrasound machine that we built out. And again, you know, the potential for this, we actually took a mock one for a client-based one that we did. And that one was actually connected through to their supply chain of the parts for the actual machine as well. So the interactive experience worked as a training module for the people using the ultrasound machine, as well as a parts ordering system for that same experience, or sorry, for that same machine that the experience was built out for. So they're already starting to see decreased use in, you know, training, and the retention rates are obviously higher in training when you're able to interact with the experiences as well. Digital twins are also going to be a really big thing coming up. This was a demo we did of a ship's bridge, just to show another potential for training and the interactions that could be put into hotspots for the employees to learn about everything that there is on a ship's bridge, because you can't exactly line up and go and see any ship's bridge. So even just to inquire what that looks like, it's you know, it can be fascinating to learn about all the parts and controls. Product showcases. This was one that we did for a client, and basically putting hotspots around that item. You're already, you know, you're able to share pieces, parts, instructions, how things work about that drill, and be able to interact with it before purchase. So merchandising with visual planograms, you know, being able to showcase what, you know, what are things going to look like before you put them in the store. Design and selection. This is a really interesting one that we did with the Bose glasses, and it uses the exploded view of the inside of the parts to be able to share knowledge about each of them. So reducing that reduction in design time for companies now is really important. And then also using that same model to showcase to their customers is a model that we've used in our company of landing and expanding, like we have with, for example, Samsung, where the same asset is being used for training materials and then turning it around and using it for consumer facing as well. So real-time analytics. With our engine, you're actually able to connect any CMS or intelligent integrations into your experiences. So for example, this Nike shoe that you guys were all sent, we actually had a client that connected that to the analytics and could measure the color choices and the options of what people liked their shoes to be designed like. So, you know, did they like more red laces or front toe slips being green or red? This is where you can learn a lot about your customers. And as you know, data analytics is really, you know, it's key, and it's what everybody craves now in learning about the interactions of these experiences. So this particular screen that you see is something that we just released within our product, and we had our Samsung team basically connect their experience to a dashboard that they now read the actual duration on every single interaction, as well as you know, did they get the quiz questions right? So this online interactivity is huge for these big companies who are trying to learn about their employees' knowledge. or about their consumers' buying choices, or where they're lingering most on a particular product. It's been really interesting seeing a company like Samsung sit there and say, okay, well, why aren't their employees answering this question right? Well, maybe it's because part of the experience, the video wasn't right, the messaging wasn't getting across. Understanding and using these data analytics is obviously really, really a game changer in how they move forward. And at one point, they even went back and we adjusted some stuff to see if we could change the numbers. So having this, television screen, I call it, because we put it on the screen and we can sit there and watch it live happening is pretty incredible, of being able to read what's going on with that experience. So attaching that to a virtual showroom, attaching it to a shoe or a drill, or any of these interactive experiences that we've built or other people have built, or you tie it to any of your products, you can now learn so much about the interactivity of that experience and what people like and what they don't like. So as I said, connecting with IoT, you can do equipment monitoring, there's communication, streaming video, and you can also use it for remote assistance. This is a link to more demos on our website. You can take a look there and try out some of our other stuff. We have visualizers for sofas and bathrooms and all sorts of stuff. And we've got some more stuff coming out soon too. So that's a little bit about MetaVRse. The other project I wanted to mention was XR collaboration. So as I said, last March when we went into lockdown, these great companies came together and we put together a resource guide, 70 pages long, of how to remotely connect using XR technologies. It was in the best interest of everybody to learn and understand how we were going to remotely communicate with each other when we went into lockdown. So our team put together this resource guide, as well as a platform directory that basically breaks down all the different platforms that are out there for the use purpose that you need it for. So that was what we did last spring. And then just a couple of weeks ago, we actually launched our hardware hub, our XR hardware hub, through the thanks of Cleanbox Technologies, which also gives you the specs of all the different hardware headsets that are out there now too. And next week, we'll be releasing a brand new version 5 of the resource guide. So some updated content will be added to that, which has been so interesting to see how far we've come in less than a year, and how much content had to be changed, and how many companies are there and not there, how many headsets we kind of gathered in the last couple of weeks because of CES. This is an ever-changing industry that we hope these resources can continue to support the communities. We're going to be adding next week a glossary, an XR glossary, so trying to add these new terms and terminologies that are out there as well. So the future is collaboration, and as we journey through digital transformation, building experiences and best practices and standards of mutual benefit and sustainability for everyone. And then finally, just a little bit of a note on XR Women, which I am a part of. And we just recently founded this with 4 of my colleagues, Karen Alexander, Sarah Klein, and Sophia Mashasha. And every Wednesday, we meet in the iLearn campus, which is the digital twin of Verbella. And we meet every Wednesday from 11 a.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Eastern till 1:30 p.m. And we're there to support, advocate, empower, and inspire women in XR and the allies that we have. It's been really heartwarming to see how quickly this group has grown, not just in the United States, but it's Canada, it's global, we've got China, we've got people from Bavaria, from the UK, from Vienna, and all these women coming together. And every week we talk about different things to, up our knowledge in the industry and be supportive and, post jobs and opportunities and elevate the resiliency and strength of women in the XR industry. So anybody who is listening and wants to join us, there's no charge. You just have to show up as a virtual avatar. I attend on my desktop. I don't go crazy with the headset for this one because I do a lot of administration while I'm doing it as well. But it's a great community that is now like 30 people strong every week. And we hope it's going to grow. It only should, because women have such a great presence in this ecosystem of ours. So we want to make sure that it stays diverse and balanced. And that's about it for me. I'll take answers or questions and stick around for answers and stuff later if anybody has any questions. But thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Julie. I don't know where you find time to like relax. You're always so busy.
As soon as we're done here,
I know,
I've got
right?
a glass of wine waiting over there.
Oh, good. You can start now. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
we all kind of.
I need one
now.
after this week, yeah. I think.
Can you share the links to the XR collaboration hardware?
Yes, I'll do that. Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Yes, such useful information for everybody out there, because we are all learning together. And thank you for doing the work that you do. Thanks. Okay, so now I'm going to hand it over to Brett. Brett, you there? Did you manage to get everything set up?
Sure, yeah. So
awesome.
Welcome everyone. I'm Brett Griffiths. I'm the Dean for the School of Trades, Technology and Design here at Vancouver Community College. As Mary mentioned earlier, VCC and VCC and Vancouver Film School have worked together on a collaboration for a program for AR and VR development, which has been super exciting for us as we're starting to work more in the fields of VR to help meet our students' learning needs, and especially this has come to light a lot more in the past little while with the challenges COVID has brought. So I have like a brief PowerPoint, but mostly the presentation today is going to center around demos. So I'd really hope to have a streaming experience from the Oculus Quest headset for VR welding. And I'm going to give it a quick setup right now because I have David Cross here behind me, who is one of our instructors in the automotive collision refinishing department. So he's both, he's dual ticketed, so he's a painter and also a Red Seal collision tech. So he's very much very experienced in this area. So I'm going to give him this headset. When we first started doing this, we had to have a like a super high-end PC, a Vive headset in order to do this experience for our students, which the original intent was to roll it out and share this equipment with students so they could use it during COVID, so they could practice welding and painting while they're at home in lockdown. But because of the nature and the expense and the complexity of like setting up the Vive headset along with using a super high-end backpack PC, it tended to be a little bit challenging. So luckily enough, the company that we were working with, Skillvary, who's contracted through a company in Canada called Cognisco, who's located in Montreal, they were able to port it to the smaller headset, which is great. So that's what I'm hoping to share with you a demo of. And then the other piece that I'm going to share a demo of as well, if I can get it all to work out, is Enscape, which is a plugin for Revit. What Revit is, it's a 3D modeling software for drafting. So VCC also offers a number of drafting courses and programs, and most recently, the department created a building information modeling program, which essentially takes like 2D drafts, combines them into 3D models of different buildings. So we have architecture, we have civil and structural programs, and we also have steel detailing, which is actually the underlying structure of like high rises and things like that. So then I'm going to show some quick videos on a few other things that we're looking in for the future at VCC. And so what I'm going to do now is quickly try to get this demo for Skillvary up and running. So if you can just bear with me for a couple seconds here, and fingers crossed it's going to work. Okay. So I'm still having some challenges here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump ahead in the presentation and go back to a couple of the videos that I have here in order to share with you for some of the other items that we're looking at launching. And then we'll try in the background to get this stuff up and running. So EonXR basically is a company that we were interested in partnering with because they specialize in education and training. Now that I'm aware of a couple more companies because of this meeting, it makes me interested to see what possibilities exist for education with respect to augmented reality and virtual reality for our students as well. But what this company had done is they partnered with Mohawk College in Hamilton, and they have a VR Center of Excellence at that college, and they were looking to do a West Coast version of that. So I'll just play this video to show what they're offering. In the meantime, I'm going to play around in the background and see if I can get this to work. Hopefully you can hear the audio and everything.
Since our beginning, we've been providing access to cutting-edge technology to those who need it around the world, with a focus on education. After over 20 years of perfecting our solutions, we're excited to announce the AVR platform is now EonXR, a brand new, all-encompassing platform for education and enterprise. In addition to the new look and interface, EonXR has been built from the ground up with the user experience in mind. Let's run through a handful of the new improvements and features that are available right now. One of the biggest new additions is EonXR Meetings. The ability to maintain and operate a hands-on immersive session as a team from anywhere in the world. With Meetings, students and instructors will be able to collaborate with each other on the same virtual content in real time using their mobile devices. Combined with AR mode, Meetings allow groups or remote classrooms to converse and explore life-size environments together. Anybody can become the presenter and take control of the model for discussion, and meetings can be conducted remotely, in person, or in any combination thereof. Next up, we've made huge improvements to the 3D recording feature. Now, users can create multiple 3D recordings within the same lesson, allowing teachers and trainers to demonstrate and save several procedures in a matter of minutes. For advanced users, this update also brings major improvements to the process of importing your own 3D content. Users can now upload, preview, and optimize their 3D models directly in the web browser. Of course, the EonXR platform extends beyond phones, tablets, and PCs, and into the latest VR and AR headsets on the market. Let's cover some of the exciting new features in HMDs. With the new 3D assessment tool, the 3D recordings saved in the lesson become procedure-based learning in virtual reality. Students can now learn and then replicate the steps of a certain process. At the end of each assessment, EonXR will generate a report based on the user's performance, including completion percentage, any additional or inaccurate steps, and the completion time. We're also making it faster and easier to create content in VR. Using Search Assist, instructors can use the internet to find information on their subject and apply it to their lessons, all within the EonXR headset experience. Finally, EonXR is now fully compatible with Magic Leap, providing users of the spatial computing hardware with the ability to embrace everything EonXR has to offer. That's it for now. We hope you enjoy the new EonXR experience. Visit eon-xr.com or search in your app store to try it for free, and stay tuned for future updates.
Okay, as I'm still messing around here. Anyways, you can see kind of the advantage to this platform. It's kind of been pitched as like essentially a PowerPoint that instructors can easily create interactive either AR or VR experiences for their students in classes. They have a library of a bunch of pre-built assets that you have access to right up front, and they've also created a library that you can now share any learning offerings that you create as an instructor with other instructors, and any 3D objects that you might create on your own can easily be imported. Of course, like one of the biggest things we run into is there's not a huge amount of 3D assets out there, and that's been one of the limiting pieces for us when it comes to wanting to develop additional 3D and 3D like VR experiences for a student and XR experiences. So I'm just going to go to the next one here. This is a pilot software that's not been released yet, but there's a 2D version that can be played on a desktop. This video isn't the greatest, but it kind of gets the point across where you can learn your knife skills. You can select different ingredients for cooking, and it's kind of an interesting way to help students get trained in a virtual environment as well. So we're looking at expanding this, or at least testing it out with our students as well. As Mary said earlier, one of the graduates of the earlier program is also working on developing some 3D experiences or VR experiences with our CoP program right now. She's working with the department head to create some potential applications for that. So anyways, I'll throw this on as well, and then I'm going to back up in a minute and I'll see if I can do the Revit demo after this, and then last but not least, we'll see if we can get this up and running again. Unfortunately, what I discovered today is all of this stuff works flawlessly at home, but because of all the network restrictions at the college blocking streaming and other ports, it's made it a little bit challenging. And then if I run 2 streaming applications such as Zoom and then try to cast from the Oculus headset, it doesn't seem to like that. But anyways, I'll run this now and we'll try this again. Okay, and then I'm going to show you one more last thing, which is another piece of training that we do here for forklift. So I'm going to attempt to do the Enscape demo. I'm really sorry about the virtual welding not working. Maybe I'll have to try this again in the future, but maybe I should just do it from home next time, or get your IT department to unblock all of this stuff. So just give me a second here to get everything up and running on the other experience. The demo that I'm going to show right now is of Revit and Autodesk. Mm-hmm. So what I'm doing in order to run this demo is I'm actually using something called Shadow PC, which is a virtual cloud PC, and it allows you to stream VR experiences to things like the Oculus Quest headset. So what you can see on the right side of the window is the 3D rendering of this draft that's on the left side. I'm going to get David to hop in here to make some potential modifications while I have the headset up and running. I'm just going to put the headset on so you'll be able to see on the Enscape view what I see in the headset. So the great part of this is it actually allows students to experience what their drafts are going to look like in a 3D rendering. So essentially they can get to see what would happen if they place something in a certain location. And how it's going to interact with the 3D object itself. Okay, so I'm just going to fire up the 3D set here. Okay, so hopefully you should be able to see what I can see. I'm going to teleport into this space. So you can see cabinets, countertops here, and I'm going to get David. The great thing about this is you can change the drafting part immediately, and you can see the effects in VR right away. So David, maybe just select this kitchen countertop here. Okay. That's what you can see in front of me, and you should be able to click delete, and it'll go away. Oops, sorry, okay, so hopefully you can still see this in the Revit view on the right side. So David, you should be able to click on that and delete it. Okay. You can see how the countertop disappeared. So the other thing is, if you can put that back, David, Control Z. Okay, so now select it and just move it to the right. And I'm just going to move down a little bit further into the diagram here. And you can see what will happen if you takes the countertop and just shifts it down a bit. How do you shift? Just click on it again and press the right cursor. I don't know if you can hear me okay. Apologies. I know this is mixed mode here.
Multiple mixed modes, I think.
Did that move it, right? Yep, it's going. Keep going. So I can even get in closer here. And,
so you can see if the oven can open or not.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things when they're drafting these pieces is David can actually push this through the wall. So that's actually called a clash or a collision. So they might not be able to see this if you're a student in the draft itself and recognize, you've either got a stud or a beam or some other object that's gone somewhere you didn't want it to go, especially when you're working with different types of models, because you're going to have a model, a 2D model for the floor plan, but then you're also going to have a model for the actual structure of the building itself. So it does make it a lot more realistic for students to recognize they're working in something that isn't just, it's just not a draft on a piece of paper, but or on the computer screen per se, but it's how it's going to affect and impact the final design of whatever they're working on. So the students in our program do end up, in their second year of the diploma program, creating a much more complicated model than this. Actually, it's a space center. It's like a, I don't know what the right word is, but it's basically a terraform on Mars. So they've created a structure and building that is designed to go on Mars, and they've mapped it to an actual place on the Earth where there's similar topography. So they build this structure as teams and then put it all together and then create a final project that they'll work with in 3D, in VR, and then they actually have to produce a final 3D walkthrough and fly through.
That's so cool.
So that's that demo. I could probably look for a video on the welding, but it's probably, my apologies. I should have done that in the first place. We'll just leave it now, and I'll leave it for questions to whoever, and you can go back to Julie probably for questions. You can come back to me too if you have some as well. And again, my apologies for the tech problems. I'll have to practice again if we try to do this again.